how's it going, Nostalgics, and welcome to the first episode of Yu-Gi-Thon, a short little series where I'm going to be reviewing a few of the Yu-Gi-Oh! GBA games, 3 to be precise. So the next 3 videos that you guys see for the Nostalgic Blast will be on 3 different Yu-Gi-Oh! GBA games, and the first of which is Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 Trials to Glory. Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 Trials of Glory was developed and released by Konami back in 2005, during a time where the World Championship Yu-Gi-Oh! Games were at an all-time high, and they were all the craze, alongside the popular card game and anime coming out around the same time. Now, as far as breaking down for the review for Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 Trials to Glory, this is a very different game than what you might expect. The story, for one, in this game, there is no existing story within this game. This game is an entire World Championship based where you traverse an open world in Domino City in order to battle against various players throughout the city, including main series people like Yugi and Kaiba from the original anime, and use your own duel deck in order to become the very best like no one ever was. Oh wait, wrong series. But you get my point. You want to become number 1. As far as any story bits that go in this game is severely lacking in that department. The entire point of this game is to go around and duel people, become better, collect all the best cards, and eventually work your way up to beat the top duelists available in the game. The story mode is literally just a bunch of linear progression and battling certain characters from the Battle City arc, such as like a Possessed Joey and Taya and Yami Merrick and whatnot. There's really not much here in terms of a story. It's really just an overarching, basically a way to advance to more advanced duelists is what it is. So the story here isn't really existing. There's nothing I can say about it since there really isn't any. What I can speak of, though, is the elements of the game for a World Championship style game that is present within 7 Trials to Glory. Game of the Game Boy Advance looks pretty good. It's not the most advanced game that I've seen on the platform, so to speak, graphically, but it does the job alright, and I do like the open world theme they have for the World Championship games. Instead of the traditional ones where you battle against a set of duel monsters in a row and then eventually traverse through different sections of different duelists and whatnot until you eventually make it to the end. This game, you get to actually travel around Domino City and are actually able to battle against people freely however you choose, which I really like that element of this in the World Championship game. It has a lot more variety than past games. So I like the fact you traverse the city. It looks really good, and the monster animations for this time, well, not as great as other Yu-Gi-Oh! Games that we'll cover later down the line. I will say that I do enjoy the battle animations and whatnot, and this game just has some good charm to it, just being able to travel around a city. So graphically wise, it's alright. The big thing you're going to be doing in this game besides battling is you're going to be collecting cards. Now, the card system that you get from Grandpa's shop, you obviously standard. You go and buy packs, you edit your deck, you try to make the best deck possible with having the best spells cards, trap cards, monster cards, developing different bases of strategies, maybe even constructing multiple different decks with different deck recipes. There's a lot of different things that you can do in this game with customization, which is another thing this game does really well. You were able to create really good strategies within this game with buying the cards from Grandpa's shop. However, I do have a problem with this card system. While other Yu-Gi-Oh games develop this way better in later games, this game, the system is you buy standard packs and cards from Grandpa's shop. However, the basket system that you initially have in order to put your cards in the cart and purchase them can be a bit of a pain and a bit of a learning curve to get around. Something as basic as buying cards I don't think was mechanically sound enough for the game, because I've played this game a few times now, and every single time I jump into it for the first time, it is a pain to purchase packs. It's just, the control scheme isn't exactly the best, and the card selection, as expected, you don't get the monsters that show up in the booster packs. Let's say you buy a booster pack that has Blue Eyes White Dragon on it. You're not going to pull Blue Eyes just because it's on the packaging, which is another thing that I wish there was more diversity in the cards that you pull. A lot of the time, you'll get good cards early on, but as time goes on, it's going to be harder and harder for you in order to get the good monsters, because you're just going to keep pulling the same stuff you normally do. And it's not easy to earn currency. It's a pretty slow process battling against everybody. It's possible, but do you really want to grind all that time to get all the best cards in the game when you have a bunch of cards that you got really early in the game, might I add? So, and again, I'm not expecting to pull anything. Like I've said before, a while back, I don't expect to pull a Blue Eyes White Dragon or all the pieces of Exodia in a pack. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I wish there would have been a better balance of pulling cards out of the pack. I wish the structure of getting the cards would have been a bit better. And, you know, some quality of life stuff would have definitely helped the cards in general, and it would have contributed better to the battle mechanic. There is another gripe I have with this game too, and besides the presentation being really well, the card system working well, and some implementations of getting cards in the first place not being the best, actually dueling is fine enough. I love the animations for it, like I mentioned earlier. I do like the concept of traversing an open city for a giant tournament, which is exactly what this game is, but the system to battle in the first place isn't implemented that well. A majority of times when you're playing through the game, you think you've constructed the best deck possible, you've used a whole bunch of cards that you can use, you think it's all great. You go to challenge somebody, Mokuba, Kaiba's brother, who also one of the directors of the tournament, stops you and says that you have a card that is on the new ban list. Yes, this game has a regularly updated ban list as it goes by days throughout the course of time, basically, is what the game... It has its own in-game clock, if you want to call it that. Basically, the ban list gets updated every so often, and even common cards that you would never expect to be on that list get put on at random points, which means you have to go back, you have to edit your deck constantly. And the main problem I ran into with this for past times that I've played, I would edit my deck and I would include just random cards just to see if it would work. They were still on the ban list, which is incredibly annoying and frustrating when you want to go and you just want to progress through the game. When you want to duel these people and you want to advance, you can't because you're constantly stopped by Mokuba telling you you can't progress. You have a card that's illegal in your deck. So I wish the ban list would have been a bit more consistent. If you would have had different seasons or different sessions specifically implemented for different parts of the year, for example, I think that would have been much a better system and stayed with that list. But instead of the list changing like every 10 duels or so is what it seems like. So I really wish that would have been used better because it's just annoying to have to go and change your deck out constantly. Not only for the repetitiveness of it, but if you have a deck structured around a certain theme or a certain set of cards, you're going to have to completely scrap it if it's on that list. So overall, I really wish that would have been better too. And that's really all I have to say about Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 Trials to Glory, guys. There's not much to the game other than a giant world championship going around and battling a bunch of people and trying to get the best monster cards in the game, spell and traps included. I mean, overall, Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 Trials to Glory is an alright game. I think that if you have some spare hours throughout the day and you want to go back and experience an older Yu-Gi-Oh! Game, especially a World Championship game, I think this would be worth your time to go and pick up. It's not the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Game on the Game Boy Advance, I don't think, by far, but I think as a game it's alright. Nothing amazing, it's not really bad. There's some quality of life stuff I wish that would have been better, but the idea is pretty solid, and the dueling itself is alright. So overall, Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 Trials to Glory, it's alright. That is going to do it for this edition of Nostalgic Blast, guys. I really hope you guys did enjoy this. The start of Yu-Gi-Thon. The next 2 videos will be on 2 other Yu-Gi-Oh! Game Boy Advance games as well, so hopefully you guys are looking forward to that as well. And of course, all the other future reviews and videos that we have planned as always. If you guys did enjoy this, give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you guys want to catch more videos in the future. And as always, comment down below your thoughts and feelings on the game, based off what you see here, what you've personally experienced, or what maybe you heard from somebody else. But that's all for me, guys. Until next time, this has been Ryan from the Nostalgia Factor saying, keep on gaming.